Now, what is centralized system? So centralized system are nothing but, again, it's built using client server model, but then where you have servers and you have more than one clients which is asking for some information, or which is making a request to the server. The thing is, if you look at this, we talked about this thing, right, where the client asks for the server, but the image actually looks like this, wherein you have a lot of clients which is asking some information, or which is making some request to the server to be to provide some information, right? Now the server is the one who is taking all of the responsibility. Okay, I can process data, I can do things, and I can do this, that, everything. So what does it mean is, like, there is a central authority which takes control of everything. Okay, that's the concept of centralization, where the whole power is with one particular party. So if you look at this diagram, right, it kind of tells you that, wherein this blue dot in the middle having the whole power, and we all our clients are uh, making a request to the one party. Now if he wants, he can serve the request. If he doesn't want, he can simply reject the request. So the whole power is with one person, right? So that's what I'm written over here. Decision making is concentrated to specific leader. So for example, today the Modi is everything. Imagine the today our in our country, uh, like there's just one party who is taking all of the decision, right? If there is no other opposition, then what will happen? He can do anything, everything he wants to, right? That should not happen, right? I mean, decision for everything, right? There has to be a consensus, or there has to be agreement between more than one party in order to come to some conclusion, right? But but so you got the point, right? Like how government is a centralized system, and we all are part of this same system. So you can imagine the government as a server, and we all are client people in the country is a client, and we are making asking every for doing anything, we are asking permission to government. Can I go outside? I have to ask permission for the government. Can I uh, travel on the air? I cannot, because the government is not permitting me. Can I do anything? Can I open a shop in that state? No, I cannot, because I have to ask permission. So you got it, right? There is always one guy who is having control of everything. So that is the concept of centralization. Like, you have power, one guy has power of everything. You can think the centralization in your class also. So you will notice that there will be a class monitor, right? He will tell you, okay, you cannot do this, okay, you cannot do that. If you shout, I will write your name. So he is having the control of everything that class can do, right? So that's the concept of centralization. Now, there are some benefits of centralization, and then there are some problems with centralization. So normally central systems are simple, and it is very easy to understand and control, because there is just one guy who is controlling, right? So for example, uh, uh, again I will go back to the our my example of political example, where the BJP is now, there is no opposition, for example. So the BJP can take every decision, any decision that he wants to. Again, I'm not against BJP or for BJP, I'm just saying, imagine there is no opposition, then there is no other guy to question on that thing, right? So for him to take any decision, it is very easy, because they are in power and they can do anything they want to, right? So in that sense, to run the system, it is very easy for them to run the system. That's why I written easy to make and easy to control. And also it is very cost saving. If you talk about the client server architecture, where you only have to manage one server, you don't have to worry about security. You have to only worry about security of one server. If there are multiple such servers, you won't be, there will be complexity, there will be a cost involved in the security of those servers, there will be cost involved in running of those servers. Now if you only have one server, then the cost is less, right, as compared to you have multiple servers. So that's the cost saving thing. Then there is a standardization. So what this mean is, like, it is easy to give some standards. So for example, we are in COVID situation, right? Imagine, and we have one government, the central government, who told all of us to to follow this social distancing norm. So it is very easy to standardize uh, to people, right? They have just told everyone on the, let's say, news channel that okay, from now onwards everybody will have to maintain social distance, right? So standardization becomes very easier in that case. Then there is other thing is easy to secure, like I given the example of one server versus multiple server, right? If there is one server, uh, you are, it's very easy to secure one server, but then if there are multiple server, you have to think about a lot of ways to secure multiple servers, because hackers can attack into all of these places, right? And then quick update. So if government has to update something, to if the central government has to give some update saying that okay, uh, from 31st onwards there won't be any lockdown, right? So it's very easy for them to give that update. Otherwise, whereas if there are like multiple such governments with whom he has to take decision and all that, then they will be like question answering, okay, whether this we have to open the lockdown or not lockdown, or any decision that they will take, right? So it won't be that quick. There will be a lot of quarrel, hustle bustle going on. Whereas on the flip side, you have cons also with this kind of system. One very important con or disadvantage is a single point of failure. What does this single point of failure means? Let's say in your family, there is only one person who earns, okay, and all rest of the person is dependent on his earning. So and let's say because of some unpredicted situation like COVID, he he happens to lose his job. Then what will happen, that the whole dependency was on him and the whole for the family, and now the family is not able to have food, or because he lost the job, right? So there is one guy, and if only one guy is earning, then whole dependency of the family is on one particular person. Let's say in the family there are two-person is earning, and if one is happens to lose his job, then it won't affect that much, right? So that is what is called single point of failure. There was one single uh, person who is failed, and if he failed, the whole system failed, the whole family infrastructure got failed, because he lost his job. If there were more than one people who was working, then the situation won't be that problematic, right? So which is why you might have seen that now the husband and wife both works. So even in the worst case scenario, the family should run, right? So that is the concept of single point of failure. Then there are another problem with this central system is high trust. So I will actually, I have another separate session on just on trust. And when I was there in Oroville, we only talked about trust. So those who are here, I think some of you can recall the problem with trust. Now what is that high trust is about? Simply, like I said, there is a central government who is controlling the whole country, right? So we trust on the central government to do right thing. But but this trust is very high, as in uh, I cannot reduce the trust, because there is no other government who can or there is no other party who can control the country, right? So so what if they do something wrong? I cannot so I had a trust that okay, they will not do wrong, but what if they do wrong, right? So this what if thing, right, when it comes, then the trust becomes a problem. So for example, you had like some of you have gone through this demonetization phase, right, where you had kept your money in the bank account, and suddenly bank says that okay, you cannot withdraw more than 50,000 rupees. You trusted the bank to put your money, but then the bank is saying okay, I don't want, I won't give you that money. Why? So so here, as you see that, right, the trust becomes a problem. So for example, you are trusting me to give you some right information about blockchain. What if I started giving you some wrong information, right? So this trust becomes a problem in this kind of situation. And then there is a high dependency. For example, you are totally right now you are totally dependent on me to give you this lecture. What if I simply shut down my system and go and have fun, right? Then you won't be able to learn. So there is a so every time when there is a central authority or single person who are in control, these problem exist. The problem of single point of failure, the problem of trust, the problem of dependency, and of course the problem in delaying work. So for example, sometimes what happens, like uh, uh, let's say your father, there is a father who has 4 children, right? And now each of these child is asking for a chocolate, right? So so, so the father is like kind of busy with one child. So let's say one child, kid went and asked, hey, can you please buy me a maybe 5-star chocolate, right? But then the other kids want park chocolate or some other chocolate, right? But then the father is busy in serving the request of one kid. So other kids are just waiting and simply doing nothing. They wanted their request also to be served, and which is why they started crying, right? So that's the concept. That's what I'm talking about when I say delay in work. So these kids wanted to uh, uh, their father to give the chocolates, but then the father is busy with one kid only, right? So that is the delay in work. And then there is a lack of transparency. Two of the important terminology that I will be using across the session, one is the trust, and that is a problem. I already explained why it is a problem. And then other is a transparency. So what this transparency means is, for example, uh, uh, your local politician comes to your house or ward. Let's say you have a ward member, right, who builds a road in your house, like nearby your in your colony. And he took, let's say, 1 crore for building the road, but then he's not telling where he's spending this 1 crore. So you can see that, right, there is a certainly a clearly transparency problem. Why is he not saying if he is so true? He's telling that I have spent 1 crore for this road, but why is he not telling? So there is a clearly transparency problem, right? So similarly, in case of central system, if he is the guy who can take any decision, he is kind of a god. Then he is thinking that, okay, even if I don't tell them, what will they do? They cannot do anything. So for example, if government is taking some decision, and if you go and ask why you have taken decision, then government can say that, okay, uh, I won't tell you, you do whatever you want to do, right? So that is what the concept of lack of transparency. So that is very visible in case of centralized system, where they will not tell, where there is a clearly lack of transparency. And of course the bad politics. And because of the bad politics, sometimes the system itself fails. I will talk about these all things like bad policy, transparency problem, and trust problem over the course of period. But overall, what I'm trying to say is the centralized system are good for something, but then they are not good for all. There are a lot of other a lot of other problems which cannot be solved with a centralized system. So that's the overall concept of the centralized system. And in terms of client server architecture, or in terms of blockchain technology, you have server and multiple clients surrounded it, right? So this is nothing but a design of, or this is nothing but a centralized example of one of the example of centralized system. And the one which I talk, government, banks, they are in our real world, but this one is in the web technology, or in the computer world, right? So so that is pretty much it in this session. I will just quickly tell you what we have actually done. So we talked about web pages and website, and what are the differences. So web pages is a one particular page or document. As you can see, www.hypermind.in/hypersign. So hypersign is the page that you are looking for, but then website is a collection of these web pages. And then we have tried to understand the difference between web page and website with the analogy of room and house, right? And also we understood how the what is the analogy for URLs and domain names, right? So it's nothing but your address. Then we briefly talk about like what what does the web technology even term means. So set of tools and software which are used to communicate between two different servers. We also talked about what are the different communication ways so that these servers can talk, right? So we today in the today's session we have just talked about the client server model, and we have talked about the centralized system. Over the period of time or in the course, we will definitely talk about the peer-to-peer model and decentralized system. So in the client server model, you have understood that the one who needs the data or who requests for the data is called client, and the one who serves the request is called server. We have extended our understanding of client server model into three-tier architecture, wherein you have introduced another component called data layer. So the client is accessing wants to access some data. The server processes the request, and then after the processing the request, it asks the data layer to give the data, which then the server send it back to the client. So that's the three-tier architecture. We finally talked about the centralized system and what are the pros and cons of the centralized system. Now, if you have any questions,